Hello there everybody, Sam's Trains here, welcome back to the railway. I never thought this day would arrive, but the title is not a lie, it's absolutely true. So basically what's happened is, for my birthday, my granddad did something really amazing for me. He actually found, well, he bought 2 gigantic boxes of various model railway stuff. It was really, really exciting, loads of cool stuff inside it. If you'd like me to go through the boxes and show you exactly what was inside them, let me know and I could possibly do that for a video. But 1 or 2 of the items caught my eye straight away. There were some O-gauge locomotives inside there, 2 of them, or 3 if you count. There was a kit in there as well that had been started but not completed. And the idea was to do them up and sell them. Grandad says, you know, sell them if you want to. But there's a problem, right? I've spent the last 2 or 3 days doing them up, servicing them, repairing them, completely overhauling them. And the problem is that I've grown a little bit attached to them, to the point where I don't think I'm going to physically be able to, or mentally be able to sell them. But there's also a problem. If I'm going to keep them, I need somewhere to run them. I don't have any O-gauge layout of anything, of any kind to speak of. Now, obviously, with it being O-gauge, it's more of a proper scale, isn't it? Not that 00 isn't, but it's a more serious modeler scale. I can't bring myself to put this stuff on the carpet. So I've decided I'm going to try and do things a little more properly and build a bit of a layout. Now, this room is full of trains already. Unfortunately, I don't think there's going to be any way to have a track going right the way around the room, so I'm settling for a long straight track. Let me show you what I've got going on. So the plan is to have a long straight layout going across the top of this wall, and naturally to get in there the whole layout has been turned upside down. As you can see, the big scenery pieces have had to come out, and that's quite a rare view of the big hills not in the place. The first major job has been to install these brackets onto the wall, which has been a nightmare job. You're looking at about 8 hours work really with all these lots so far. I've had to precisely calculate the position of every single bracket in order that A, it fits the shelving that I've ordered to put on there, B, we can still have access to these eaves, and C, the O-gauge engines will have enough space to run without crashing onto the roof. So I'm going to show you the process that I've done about 15 times so far and put the last bracket in. I need a hole right there, I believe. So this is a one-man job. So I'm holding the vacuum cleaner in one hand and the drill in the other, obviously because I don't want dust and bits of plaster going everywhere where there's sensitive model trains. So here we go, let's do the hole. So you'll notice that that went in ridiculously easily, and that brings us on to the next major problem with this. This is a plaster wall, which means that I can't just shove say a shelving plug into there and screw it in, because it just wouldn't be safe, and probably as soon as I put any engines or anything on it, it would pull off the wall or perhaps even pull the wall down. So I have to use these bolts and these washers and these nuts and actually bolt it to the wall. And then very, very fortunately across here there's a wooden frame which I can screw the top part of the brackets into. Let me demonstrate. So the base of the bracket is held in with the bolt. The top can be screwed in because there's a wood panel which goes across the back of here, and it's from that wood panel that all the strength comes, which is another reason why it has to be so high up like this. So that's what I've had to be dealing with. I've had to be bolting these to the wall like this, and then crawling around in the dark behind this wall to actually bolt it on. So I'm going to go and do that now. I can't bring you because it's a really tiny gap, barely enough space for big fat me, definitely not enough for the camera. So I'll be back in just a second. Next job then is to level it all up. Oh. There we are, bung the spirit level on there, just make sure we've got this right, and yet that's absolutely right because I measured the height of the first hole before I started shooting this. Make a couple of indents that the drill bit will find, and then I'll talk to you about the next fun challenge that I have to deal with. So the wooden beam that runs across here was a sort of homemade job, and the width of the piece varies. Behind this section of wall it's quite thin, which means it's actually too high for this, which means I'm having to screw these screws in at an angle in order to bite into the wood. And so I've had to enlarge the holes on this bracket, which I've already done, And I've got to use a slightly larger bit to drill into the wall there, and I'm also going to try and drill at a bit of an angle. There we go. Screws in situ, and partly because I'm lazy and partly because this would be an impossible job if not, I do have the sort of electric screwdriver, which has been incredible for this job. Really, really incredible. So get these at a right old angle, see if we can get the wood. I warn you, I don't always get it first time. Yeah, I think we got it. Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah, now if that had just been through the plaster, that wouldn't be that secure. The other one's higher up, so if the lower one went in all right, this should be a doddle. Let's try. Yeah, that's bitten. Good. Let's tighten this up then. You really have to put some force on these so as not to round the screw head off. That's it, man, ain't going anywhere. Make sure these are all tight. Yeah, that's good. Just tighten up that nut and bolt at the bottom then, and the job is a good one. Next job then, let's get the baseboards or shelves up. Okay, so all but one of the boards are on, and I'm actually really pleased with how this is looking. The only area that I'm not 100% happy with is that unsupported section over the eaves door, but I've had to do that because we need access to the eaves. Besides that though, I'm amazed by my, well, look probably, because I'm not normally skilled at these things, but the joins are more or less perfectly level. The only one that's not perfect is the one over the other eaves door, which we don't have to access, but it has got a long unsupported span over it, and the spirit level wasn't quite long enough to reach over there, so I had to measure that one instead. So it's not perfect, but I think the track will be fine. Anyway, there's one more to secure. As you can see, this one's just sitting here, and I thought I would just document this process so that if I ever do this again, I can remember what to do. First thing then, we have a bag of weights, which sits on the shelf. That just holds it in place while I'm doing whatever it is I'm doing. Then I have two plastic spacers, which have been cut to a specific length, and I put those between the shelf and the wall and push them against the wall. And that allows me to get the exact right distance between the shelf and the wall every single time, push them together. And that distance is determined by how far away the track has to be in order for the engines and things not to bang their chimneys or funnels on the roof. Now at this point I'd normally add a washer or something on the bracket to make sure that they were level, but as you can see this one is, so we don't need to bother with that. First job then, just drill a little bit into the shelf to make sure the screws go in okay. Electric screwdriver again, no messing about. And with that, the base for the O-gauge layout is finished. It's not fantastic, I'm not a craftsman by any means, but I think by my standards this isn't too bad. So with that, let's get on to some track. So on the subject of track, Callum from Pico, thank you very much for your advice. Callum Wilcox, I'm sure you know him, helped me make sure that what I was buying in terms of track was right. So I've gone for the sort of O-gauge Pico track. This is just the standard flexi track, although I'm not going to really use its flexibility. I'm going to be keeping it straight. I've bought quite a lot of this, enough to do my double track straight. It is going to be 2 tracks. And enough also to maybe expand it around a corner or a curve, I shouldn't say corner, one day if possible. And also to connect the dual tracks, I have bought some of these, the biggest points I have ever seen in my entire life. In fact, here is the packaging of a Hornby double O-gauge points. It's the same thing, a second radius point. The size difference there is absolutely astonishing. So I thought, why not do a bit of an unboxing? I've never seen an O-gauge point before. I mean, obviously I've seen them, but I've never actually owned one or opened one. So it might be silly, but I really want to open this on camera and find out what it's like. So let's do it. So the O-gauge points I've gone for are these, the second radius set track points, 2 left-hand points. Yeah, didn't really mind whether it was left or right. There are quite a lot of different O-gauge points to choose from Pico. Callum recommended these, so that's what I went for. I'm also in quite a tight situation with the shelves that I'm using to mount the track onto, so these should be about right. The shelves are 20 centimeters wide, and 2 of these points connected together in a double track setup should be about 21 centimeters, which means that some of the sleepers might just be coming off the edge, but I don't mind that too much. But the track's got to be laid well because I can't have any derailments. So let's get this out then. This cost £45, I think, but obviously given its size and complexity, presumably, I didn't think that was too bad. Now, it is all taped up, so I'm going to have to play a game of how many dangerous tools can I show in a single video. The next one, it's a knife. It's a rusty knife. So not only can it give you a gaping wound, it can also give you tetanus, which is excellent. You're getting all the tips today. Right, I'm looking forward to this. I think this is going to blow my mind. It's probably going to be the biggest point I've ever seen, even though it's probably the smallest point you can get in O-gauge. Right, how does this box open? Confusing stuff. Like this, I think. Yep. All right, are you ready to see it? Here we go. O-gauge ahoy. Ooh. Oh God, yeah. That is huge. Right, let's get it out. Is it sealed in this bag? Any O-gauge enthusiast will be thinking, yeah, so it's a point. You get over yourself. Well, just let me have this. I'll enjoy this one, and then every other O-gauge object, I'll just be like, yeah, nah, it's just whatever. Okay, good Lord, look at the size of that. Here we are. I mean, I don't know what to say. I can't say it's die cast and it's very heavy and all the usual comments I might come out with. It's good quality though. Look at that. What a snap. That's fantastic. This is a Unifrog point. I'm not exactly sure what the difference is between Unifrog and Electrofrog, but I am going to isolate them. I'm going to put some plastic fish plates on the or bits of it anyway, so that my 2 tracks can be isolated, because I do intend to run them on DC to begin with. I don't know what this is for. That must be some sort of connection. But yeah, that is very impressive. And as I say, I've got 2 of those, so I'm hoping that they will work just fine. Nice. Right, well, let's start installing some of this stuff then, shall we? Okay, so I'm exhausted. I've been working on this all day now, but the track is laid and it's nailed down to the shelves and it's straight. And the diesel, as you can see, this is one of the engines that my granddad got me. In fact, this is the first time you've seen this, so there it is. It fits on and it does not touch the roof at any point on the track. It does touch some of the Wall of Fame pictures a little bit further along, which is interesting, but it seems it will have clearance. Now, this diesel I spent a lot of time working on. I spent more or less a whole day working on this. Serviced it up, added pickups to all of the wheels instead of just the powered bogie wheels. I've added directional lighting to this, so the red lights come on when it's going forwards at the back and white lights at the front, and vice versa when it reverses. It's modernised as much as it can be. It's a Lima SNCF locomotive of some description. Anyway, enough talking. It's time for the moment of truth. The loco does work. I've tested it on the bench away from the track. So as long as the track is all set up properly, it should now run. So this may very well be my first ever O-gauge run on this railway. I don't yet have the buffer stop installed, so it could go backwards and off the edge of the track, but the directional lighting should hopefully tell me. Here we go. Oh, it's working. I'm keeping it steady for the time being. Man, that is a brilliant runner. That's not bad, is it? Sounds great. And there it goes. Yep, it is touching the Wall of Fame pictures, but it's managing just fine. Here we are. Right, to the other end. Let's try reversing then. A bit faster. Ah, yes, that is excellent. Does that without any problems whatsoever. That is brilliant. Try again. There we go, over the joint, no problems, yep. Try it again. Yeah, you can see that it's touching some of the pictures, baptising them with its presence. Some of its buffers are broken, by the way, but I've casted some new ones, so I'll be putting those on pretty soon. Yeah, that is really good. Fab. Well, I'm very, very pleased with this. I'm incredibly happy that it's actually working. But I did say that I've fixed up 2 locos, so I will show you the other one. It's a bit more your style, if you like steam. All right, it's a 4F, as you can see, and yeah, this is the one that sort of made me fall in love with O-Gauge. It sounds counterintuitive, but it took an incredibly long time to restore this one. There was quite a lot wrong with it. First of all, it was missing a driving gear, so I had to search through other Lima locos from which I could borrow a gear, which I did. I found an old crusty one that didn't matter too much, so that was okay. All the wheels were out of quarter. The wheels were sort of loose on the various axles, which meant that they were free to turn, and the coupling rods just were a complete mess. So with this one, I had to take every single wheel off the axles, which was a big job. I had to completely clean up the axles, the wheels, polished absolutely everything, then glue the wheels back onto the axles and quarter them correctly. Then I had to obviously mechanically service it, get all the motor apart and clean that up. Also, I've added pickups to the tender, which is quite a nice feature, so it now has all-wheel pickup, although it picks up through the axles. So yeah, it's got 3 pickups on the tender anyway. At least it's got, let's see, 4 pickups on one rail and 3 on the other, so it's a lot better than just the 2 and 2 that it had before. Anyway, this one's not such a good runner, but it's still pretty decent. Here we go. There we go. I don't know what sort of crawl this one can do. I did try this one on a little bit of track. Now that whine in reverse is one of the pickups in the tender touching the axle. Only happens in reverse, but I'm going to put some Vaseline on that at some point. Anyway, let's get it going. Oh yes, it's singing, isn't it? Maybe it's just happy to be alive. Yep, it's all right on the points. So there you have it then, folks. I am unbelievably happy with this. Sam's Trains officially has a very, very basic but functioning O-Gauge layout, and I must say it was a bit of a nightmare to build. It took a very long time. It's been very tiring. I'm not that much of an active type, don't know if you can tell, but the fact that it's all up and working and all the boards are level is really quite something. It might not be for most people, but yeah, for clumsy old me, it ain't that bad. Anyway, more O-Gauge videos to come. I've got some wagons to show, maybe unboxings, maybe O-Gauge wagons. I've also ordered my first modern O-Gauge loco. I'll be showing you that at some point in the future. But for now, I think that will just about do it. I'm going to pan across here so you can see how straight it is. The wind turbine here is going to have to turn slightly, otherwise if I turn it on right now, its sails or fins are going to clonk the new layout. And I don't want that. Here we are. It's just over 4 meters long, so it's not bad. That's it. Well, thanks for watching, folks. It's done, and I'll see you soon. Cheers, everybody.